Hello friends, this is my ever charming planner where I love to plan and plan to love all 30 days of April. Now on this day of filming, which was actually in March, the temps were up, so I definitely wanted to sit out on the front porch and work on my planner. However, it was super windy, March weather, so keeping my candle lit was definitely a challenge. I, in fact, had to relight it multiple times, but that's okay. Totally worth it. So this video is going to be a lot different than my previous ones because I worked on my March planner a lot off camera, and I just wanted to make sure we go back so you can see everything I did in my Happy Planner March spreads. I'm calling this video my flip and pen because I want to flip through my March pages and then just pin out my final week of March. Even though it's April now, I still want you guys to see this. Now, for March, I wanted to stay consistent with my March Currently page where I used the Squad Goals sticker book from Happy Planner's website. So here you see all these cute characters riding bikes, sitting in the park. So I really wanted to keep that whole theme throughout the whole month of March. Now this is the first week of March. Again, using those Squad Goals characters. They're so cute. I love the girl with the butterfly picking flowers. I didn't fill this particular week out a whole lot. I don't know. I think I just had a lot going on. And sometimes you have those weeks where you really use your planner and some weeks where you don't. But here's the second week. I definitely used this week a lot because I just had a lot of things to do, lots of tasks for home, getting the house ready for spring, taking down the winter stuff, putting up a lot of spring decorations, and then really just getting things ready for the third week of March, which we were going to do our staycation. We always take a vacation in March. So down at the bottom, you see my my itinerary, or basically ideas that I wanted to do for my staycation down at the bottom there. So there it is, third week of vacation. We had our first official day of vacation. It actually snowed that day. It wasn't a hard snow, but we did have a lot of snow flurries. But then the weather just warmed up and it actually ended up being a beautiful week. We got a lot of shopping done. It's our anniversary week. We celebrated by doing facials. We had lunch out at our favorite restaurant, El Mariachi's. And for some reason, I had pizza on my mind. And so we did a pizza night. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Dewey's Pizza? It is so delicious. So I had Dewey's Pizza on my mind. But we didn't make it to Dewey's. So I ended up just ordering deep dish pizza from Pizza Hut, which was also really good. But just fun things hanging around the house. We've been addicted to Brennan Taylor videos on YouTube. He does food reviews. So we spent a lot of time just relaxing, watching TV. It was a great week together. So final week, week 4, I did want to go back and just kind of show you how I'm going to fill out that page. And I pulled out my Zebra mild liners, and I wanted to use the same colors that I used in my March Currently page. So we've got that real pretty blue, the pinks, the coral, the tan, and of course that pretty purple, which is actually the theme of my week 4. I'm not really a big purple person, but by week 4, I was running out of Squad Girls, or not Squad Girls, it's Squad Goals stickers, and just had more of the purple stickers left. And so I thought, okay, we're going with purple. And I actually ended up liking this page a lot. On Monday, I think that says the 23rd, that was our final day of vacation. So both of us, we always take off the Monday after a vacation. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like you need a day to recover from vacation. So we had that Monday off together still, and we thought, you know what? We have been putting off getting new blinds for Toby's office for a long time. So we thought, let's get that done. So we went to Lowe's and we went to Home Depot, which, by the way, I put Home Deport. No, that is not a new home improvement store. I just messed up. I don't know why I put Home Deport. It's supposed to be Home Depot, but instead of using whiteout or scratching out the R, I'm just like, I would just rather it be spelled wrong. But anyway, so we went to Lowe's first to look for blinds. And I told my husband, I said, Toby, these are going to be expensive. And he did not believe me until we got some blinds priced at Lowe's. And it was like, for, the really nice blinds, he wanted the kind that were blackout, but then you can pull it down and then it's translucent. Well, those were about $700 a window. So we were like, nope. So we ended up buying just some like pull down shades from Lowe's, and not Lowe's, Home Depot. And they were kind of expensive. They were still, I think, like $70 a window. Thankfully, we only had 4 windows, which, boy, that's still, now that I think of it, pretty big expense, but not $700 per window, thank goodness. We also ended up mowing our yard for the first time of 2026. Tried to put it off as long as we could, but I have 2 Yorkie puppies and the grass was pretty much up to their ears, so we could not put it off any longer. First mow of the season, and boy, did the yard look beautiful when we were done. On Tuesday, I still had one last day of vacation. Toby went back to work. So I thought, you know what, this is a great day for me just to get some to-dos done. I needed to go to Staples, shred some mail, drop off some donations. I've really been trying to declutter my closet and get rid of winter clothes that I did not wear this past season. We finally canceled our Planet Fitness. I bought a treadmill a couple weeks ago, and I have been using that. And Toby, he has a foot injury, so he wasn't using his Planet Fitness membership, so we went ahead and canceled that. So that will actually be a savings of $37 a month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but adds up over time for sure, especially if it's a service that we weren't going to use. I ordered an outdoor rug. Again, just getting the yard and the patio ready for spring. For March, I love using the block letters that I found on Pinterest and filling them in with color with my mild liner highlighters, and then of course adding the fine details with the Pigma Micron. It's the 01 point pen, and I love it. Super crisp, doesn't smear. Great pen. Probably my favorite now. And then moving on to Wednesday, I have to go back to work. You know what? I should be more thankful. If I didn't have a job, there would be no vacation. So, right? No, I don't know. Anyway, but back to work. And on this week of March, we've got 2 birthdays in my family. My mom's birthday, my brother-in-law John's birthday. They share a birthday, actually. And I do have to tell this story about my brother-in-law. So my sister, back in the 90s, you know, she was never short on suitors. And I remember she was going through her little, I don't know, would you call it her little black book? her phone number book, her address book, you know, and she was like, Lori, who should I go on a date with? And, you know, she's going through this whole list of guys, and she was like, okay, there's John. I don't know, should I call him? Should I go out with him? And I was like, Amy, he was my favorite. He had, like, because they did go on one date, and I just remembered he wore Argyle socks, which I thought were so cool. And I told her, I said, yes, he's the one who looked like Harry Connick Jr., so you need to call him. So the reason my sister and my brother-in-law have been married for, I think, almost 30 years now, it's because of me. I told her, I convinced her she needed to call John, ask him out on another date because of those Argyle socks. See, I loved cool prints even back then on socks and now on planners. Friday was just one of those busy days where I had to work but needed to go to Kroger after work. There was no time to go on that particular weekend. So did my 12-hour shift. I remember dreading having to go to Kroger after work. You know, it's 7, 8 o'clock. But always when I'm done, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I went, got this done. I try to avoid going to Kroger on Saturday as much as possible. So went to Kroger, got that done. Here's my Kroger list now. It would be so much easier just to write this list on a piece of paper, or even take a picture of, you know, this right here. But I do these little things where I don't know, it just helps me remember. I put my list in order according to the first letter of the word. So I put hamburger, eggs, yogurt, jerky sticks, apples, cottage cheese. Those are the things that I needed. So if you look, it's got H for hamburgers, E for eggs, Y for yogurt, J for jerky sticks, A for apples, C for cottage cheese, which if I put them in that order, it says, Hey Jack. So that Friday at work, I knew my Kroger trip, I had to get Hey Jack, which was hamburger, eggs, yogurt, jerky sticks, apples, cottage cheese. I know it's weird, but that's just how my brain works. So Saturday, we had a birthday party for my niece Bailey, and of course my mom and my brother-in-law John. And I was so excited because Bailey and Gus, they just got married. My niece Kira, they were all going to be there. The older I get, the more I cherish my time with my nieces and my nephew. I almost feel like I'm like their biggest fan now. I don't know if it's because, they're young, and I don't know. I just love spending time with them. So when I get to hear like updates about my nephew Mitchell, my niece Madison, she's an RN. She's always going on these great trips overseas. When I get to see my niece Kira, who lives in Chicago, and now my niece Bailey, I don't know. I'm a proud aunt. What can I say? And I love spending time with them, love hearing about their goings on. So anyway, that was fun. Got to see them. And then we got a special treat on Sunday. My brother-in-law Jody and my sister-in-law Christy, they stopped by for a visit. They actually live about an hour away, so we got to spend time with them. It was just a great weekend with family. And I don't know, maybe that's why I love this week so much. It was back to work after a really good vacation, but I got to spend a lot of time with my family, and it was just perfect. I like at the bottom, I put, until next year, March. I gotta say, March sometimes is not one of my favorite months, but this was a good month, and it was because I got to spend a lot of time with family. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this pin and flip. Until next time, friends, take care.